Hey, everybody, welcome to Open for Business. We have another great guest, and he hails from the wonderful Chattanooga area. I got Lex Ryan from New Creations. And before we get into what you do, Lex,
Okay.
what we're going to do is so I met Lex at a networking group. Actually, it wasn't even a networking event. It was more of a get to know your realtor locally downstairs at the winery. And, we've only been in this area for a little while. So my wife and I are always looking for networking groups. And when we first got here and I talked to the chambers, because the first thing you do is you join a chamber, of course, right? And you go, hey, know any networking groups? Oh, we don't do that here. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then sure enough, ran into Lex. And dude, let me tell you something. I like getting to know the people that know everybody. And I can't go anywhere and they not know you. I mean, it's like, oh, I met this guy, Lex. Oh, I know Lex. He's a great guy. Oh, my God. I've known him for years and blah, blah, blah. But you're not here for that side of it. We can talk about that if you want to. But we're
No.
here about new creations. And
Right.
I'm reading your card. It says repair, restore, renew. Now, is that for people? Because you could use some work, right? Or is that for homes, businesses, offices? Tell us about New Creations.
So New Creations it's a very niche company that the reason why it's a franchise that I purchased a little over a year ago.
Okay.
Because I realized there is not another company like it, that we are able to repair, restore, renew almost anything that is surface wise.
Really?
So we go from floors to countertops to furniture, car seats, interior. We could do dashboards. So it's anything that we could be working on wood floor in the morning, but we could be working on plastic dashboard in the afternoon.
Okay.
So we have the franchise was very creative. They came up with multiples of compounds for hard surfaces, soft surfaces. We even glued, concrete back together. So
Concrete.
we've done concrete around a swimming pool. A piece broke off. So
Wow.
instead of a customer having to spend thousands of dollars trying to get some masonry to come out there and put it back together by drilling holes, we were able to basically glue it back together, and it held all summer. So
Wow.
I guess it'll still work.
I would think so. So when you say service, so if I have I have an expensive table,
Hmm.
kitchen table or whatever, and I get the white ring, the water rings,
Right.
or deep gouges. That stuff you guys can come in and make it look like it was never there.
So there are techniques that we can't do everything, but what we always tell everybody is that we can probably do something.
Right.
And it depends. People just send me pictures. We'll always say, well, that's probably something we could do. Let me come check it out. And what's great about having the franchise is since there's about 150 additional franchises, we're able to send pictures to other owners who have been doing it for 10, 20 years.
Right.
That's what I had to do when somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I've got an unusual one. I've got a painting.
Oh.
And so it actually had a rip in it. We went down, we looked at it. They said, can you fix it? I go, I don't know, probably. So we took pictures, we sent it out, and a few other franchise owners came back and said, yeah, I've done that. And you just use this material and this compound. And the funny thing is, we have so many compounds, we didn't even know we had that compound until we started looking for it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay. So when people try to ask me, what do we use? It's all prioritized that, the company has hired, chemical engineers to develop a lot of different stuff for us. And so it's always better than what you can get at Home Depot. So that's why, when people ask, well, what are your costs? And I go, well, do you want the Home Depot fix that'll last like 6 months?
Right,
Or
right.
do you want the repair that's going to last for years?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And now, you said car dashes. Like, for instance, I love my wife. She loves her car. Everyone doesn't want to get rid of it, but I want to get rid of it. But the heat in Florida has just tore up.
Yeah.
The dashboard, it's got like a couple cracks in it. You can fix that and make that go away.
We can make cracks look like that they almost didn't happen.
Oh.
So usually what we like to tell people is we can't make anything look like it's factory.
Well, yeah.
Now, sometimes we can.
Yeah.
I mean, we get lucky.
Yeah.
But we always say that we'll take the eye away from it, that you'll know where to look at.
But somebody else won't know.
but somebody else isn't going to really know unless they're staring at that area.
Okay.
It's funny how we'll do repairs, and then people will come to look at their floor or their furniture, and they look and they look, and then they get real close and they bend down and go, "Well, I can still see it." And I said, "But I told you,
Yeah.
look what you had to do. You had to get real close.
You had to know where to
and
go.
you knew
look.
where to look."
Are there
So-
surfaces that are way more difficult than others?
Well, actually, tabletops are very difficult. Some of them are very difficult when they've got that real, that sheen to it.
Yeah.
That sometimes can be very difficult to do. Certain tiles can be very hard
Okay.
to do because, it's that gloss and it's,
Yep.
that shine that's on them. But we do have stuff that it takes longer.
Okay.
And, but what's the convenience is if you've got one tile and if it cost you, say, $500 for me to fix that one tile because it's going to take me almost all day,
Right.
but I can make it look like it almost never happened, or do you spend $3,500 to have all your tile done?
Right.
You've got crews coming in for
Yeah.
2 or 3 days.
Gotcha.
Where's the convenience? So when gentleman the other day, we did some work for him. A delivery company messed up his house, some steps. We fixed it. We told him we did floors. We went back a couple months later. He said, I had a company that gave me a price to resand and refinish my floor. It was going to cost about $8,000, but I got to move all my stuff into a POG.
Oh, Lord.
So we went in, and in about 3 hours, as he just sat on his back deck reading his book, we were able to fix these 4 different areas, for about $700.
Oh, that's huge
So-
savings.
so-
and no inconvenience.
Right.
That's
So
That's
that's where
really
we're
good.
trying to get people to understand
Okay.
is it's the inconvenience that we can save you on,
Right.
because we're mobile. So we can even come if you've got a car. If you want your car seat because it's starting to get wrinkles and it's starting to just needs maybe a little maintenance on it,
yeah.
we can actually come to your work while you're at the office.
Okay.
And we could do the repair in the parking lot.
Well,
So-
that was my next question. I
Yeah.
mean, so do you go and look at it and go, okay, this is what it's going to cost? Do you always do it on site, or do you have to bring some of it back to your shop and go, okay, we really got to take this back. We got to work on it. It's going to take a little bit more. We don't inconvenience you. Is that the way it works?
Certainly, it depends. I mean, yeah, for smaller things, it's better for us just to do it on site. But there are a few times we've had to bring it back home and
A
work on
painting,
it.
I would think that's something that's got to come back with you because that's
Actually, we did it in about a little over an hour and a half.
that's amazing.
Like I said,
Okay.
it's most of our work is usually 1 to 3 hours.
Okay.
That's the majority of what we do, time wise. So that's
Okay.
why I have to let people know we're gonna, don't just think we're gonna come in, just slap something down and throw some, because we're gonna use the artistic skills that I don't have, but my son does.
I was going to say, I bet your son's got real good artistic skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's got the patience. He understands it. And,
Okay.
So no, we do. He's done real good job. I mean, like anybody, when we first started out, we were still learning, and
Yeah.
there was times we walked away from jobs because it wasn't to our level
Right.
of expertise. I even just told people, I said, "Yeah, I can't charge you for this," and I turned to him and said, "Lesson learned."
Lesson learned, right? A
So-
growing experience, right?
But now we've been able to really make stuff where people are like, "I can't believe you've done that."
Okay.
So,
So how far out? Okay, because I know you're from Chattanooga
Mhm.
area. So how far out? What kind of surrounding area do you actually try to cover? And then eventually go really not. I can't. That's too far.
So technically, my area is kind of a 30-mile radius
Okay.
around Chattanooga.
All right.
That's my official area.
Official area.
But I have had an office that we've been doing some work for here, but they have another office in Knoxville. So they're actually wanting us to come up there
Oh,
and do
wow.
a couple repairs because they've damaged some dashboards, and the dashboards, they know it's going to cost probably, $1,700, $2,700 to replace it.
Yeah.
But I can drive up there for hundreds of dollars and make the customer happy.
And now you say, I know you said you do dashboards and stuff. But do you do glass as well?
No, we can do glass chips, but since windshield companies and insurance companies and stuff, I mean, it's it's not worth it for us to, do a $50 repair.
It's for
when-
me because then my insurance doesn't go up. I'd rather give you that $100 than
Well,
go.
but most windshield companies do the same thing. So that's what we've noticed, or at least in other
your
areas.
insurance goes up.
So
It sucks.
is that what they do?
Yep, they got us. I got into that trap.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, the guy even goes, I'm gonna bring you some steaks. I don't want no steaks. Just fix they changed the windshield, and then a year later, we were getting new insurance. Well, you had an incident. I said, I've never been in a wreck. Well, no, you had a windshield change. I'm like, that counts? He goes, yep, that counts because we paid for that because they bill.
Well, and it's funny that actually a windshield company is one of my better customers.
Really?
I actually work with multiple windshield companies because accidents happen.
Yeah, well, they
And-
do, and it sucks.
And since there is nobody else around that can do, a car seat, can do a dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
So with me being kind of that one-stop shop.
Yep. Now
so-
they got someone, well, we can do your windshield. I got a guy to handle your seats
Yeah.
and your, it's amazing that you can fix dashboards. Because to me, I figured, once it's cracked and it's warped, that means it's separated or something, but you can
Mhm.
fix that. I got a job for you.
Yeah.
She's coming up in a week. I got a job for you. I'm just saying, because she loves her Cadillac. So what made you go, you know what? This is what I want to do.
Well, to be honest with you, kind of as you brought it up, I was networking. I've been working with a lot of people, kind of consulting, trying to teach people how to network and use their verbiage better. And people kept asking me why I don't have a consulting company, and I don't.
That's when I thought. Okay, so when I saw
Yeah.
your card, and I didn't really read, repair.
Right.
I said, oh, he's a business consultant.
So, but as people kind of explained to me, and I said, well, I hate to charge because I've been doing it for free for so long. And they said, well, Lex, you doing it for free is why you have a reputation that you have,
You do.
because they know that you're there for them.
Right.
But then, people want me in insurance and this, and I thought, I don't want to compete against my friends.
Right.
Because I have such a wide variety of contacts in town. And then I was talking to my friend, Bruce Krebs, who is a franchise broker. We ran into each other after about 5 years.
Right.
And we were just chit-chatting. And I said, well, what kind of franchise have you been working on? He goes, well, I set a guy up in Chicago with this restoration company. And I immediately thought, well, it's going to be something where I got disaster relief.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm not getting up at 2:00 in the morning and go clean up water. So then he started saying, yeah, this company, they said they can repair almost anything. He said it's wood floors. He said it's floor tiling. Then he started talking about restaurant booth seats, and he said boat seats and car seats and, countertops. And, he just started rambling, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is something that nobody in the area does.
I've not heard of this.
And so I said, well, send me more information. I looked at it and I thought, if I don't do this, I'll be kicking myself up 5 years from now, because when people would rather write a one check to one person coming in, if they have a nice antique dresser that one of their kids bumped up ran something against them, put a big scratch in it.
Yeah.
Or then they may have a couple of, boards on their floor and a cracked tile. Well, instead of having to hire somebody to do furniture, flooring, now they can just call me and I can take care of all three of them. And with it being kind of a bundle package, save them a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. So we were talking the other day,
Mhm.
and I like this when you said this. It's like sometimes your repair is not worth the thing you're trying to repair, and you're honest enough to say you're better off
Yeah.
getting another piece of whatever that furniture. Or,
Well, I mean, because, all consumers want to talk to somebody and do business with somebody that's honest.
right.
I have always told everybody, that when I'm dealing with them, I say, even when I used to do pest control in the day, I'd say, look, if you go to Home Depot, or Walmart, you could do this and they'll take care of it. Now, I'm more than happy to take your money if you want to give it to me.
Right.
And it's the same thing with this repairs.
Yeah.
If there's something that I think that, they could probably do something and save them money. The other day I went up, We looked at a couch. Yeah, I could have got the stain out. But after we discussed, I called a friend of mine who does complete upholstery clean. So he was going to do a professional job instead of me just getting a couple stains out.
Right.
And so she was very happy with that. But then, I was talking to her, she actually had a kitchen table because she has 4 kids
Oh boy.
who would scratch.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Look, I just want it to look better. I don't need it, to look perfect or anything." So I
Right.
gave her a good deal on it, and she was very pleased at the end result. So,
It is amazing. It's when I after we were another networking group, and after you
Mhm.
said what you said, I'm going, yeah, you know what? I mean, you may not go for one, but something else may be there, and you may better do the one thing, or you just don't waste your money with me. But I'm not saying waste; that's a bad term, But that's just not cost effective. But then there's something else, something else, something else. Because I remember after I knew you weren't a network that knew Chris was not a networking
yeah.
or consultant. Yeah, I knew what you did. I'm like going, because I think one of the things I said, well, do you do all the floors? Because
Mhm.
I have a log cabin and it's got wood floors and it's due, right?
Right.
There are a couple ugly spots, but I know overall it just needs to all be redone. So, but if you get into situations like that, you know who to call. Like if I
Right.
can't do this, you got
Well, but that's why you always have to talk to a customer
Yeah.
because you have to find out what are their expectations.
Right.
If I just say, "Well, yeah, I can do these couple pieces," and then they're going around and they're saying, "Well, what about the rest of these spots?" And I'm going, "Well, you never discussed that."
yeah, right,
I
right.
said, "You were just more worried about these couple eyesores, but now after I fixed those, it's bringing out other stuff." So that's where you have to ask questions. And it's finding out what are the expectations, both agreeing that
Right.
this is where I want to be. Because I had somebody the other day with a dog, and they said, "I've got this spot where my dog keeps scratching the floor." And then she even brought up, says, "Well, should I just call somebody and get it resanded?" And I said, "Well, if you're going to get the whole floor done and spend $7,000-8,000 to do that,"
Right.
I said, "you're better off because you still have your dog that's still going to scratch it up.
Yeah.
You would be better off to pay me, say, $1,000 a year for 7 or 8 years, but
Well-
every year at least it's going to look better instead of you spending $8,000 and then you're scratching your head trying to think, well, I spent $8,000 and it still looks bad."
Right.
But
Right.
it would be like a maintenance plan, or it might be, $500. I mean,
Right.
it depends on how bad,
How bad it was. Right.
Um,
Well, okay, so I know a bunch of fire flood restoration guys. I
Mhm.
know a bunch of pure restoration. I mean, where they come in and it's, you're talking $10,000-15,000 worth of work. But if you don't need that and you need like an area, or again, or see, you don't need to get your couch recovered. You need that one spot fixed. That dude, this is phenomenal. I mean, what a niche. And I've never heard of this. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've never heard of this part right here.
so it's the company is based out of Canada, and they've been around 30 years.
Okay.
They've really just started hitting the United States in the last, probably 5-6 years. So I think I was actually maybe the 20th or 25th franchise in the United States.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, there's not another one close to me until South Carolina.
Oh.
So
Now, so does that give you, because there's not a lot of them, does that give you the ability to grow to a bigger swatch?
right.
You can put more people on,
Yeah.
make them feel more comfortable. Like there's 4 or 5 of us now. I can go out 100 miles or that
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's killer.
Yeah.
And it's unusual to be able to have growth like that, because typically when you're into a franchise, you're really restricted to your area, and because you're not oversaturated, or actually you're not even saturated, it's just you. That gives you huge growth potential, which is absolutely
And
phenomenal.
that's what's great about this company. Is another reason why I bought into this is that this is I've talked with a lot of people who have dealt with franchises, and I've listened to them of these high goals and high expect and how they but this company, they were like, "You bought it, you run it the way you want, you make as much money as you want at it, We're not going to force you to do anything, but we are here to support you.
Oh, that's good.
And so even in my first few months, at least once a month, somebody was always reaching out asking, hey, is there anything we could do? Do you need any questions?
Right.
What's great, like I said, when we see a situation, we love to, in our franchise owner groups that are on Facebook and different apps, people love to show, like somebody put it on the other day and said, I had a real interesting job today. He goes, I fixed a dragon.
A dragon?
A dragon.
Okay.
And so he's showing this picture of some store in his territory. And it was one of those, dragons and so he fixed the webbing that was starting to come off.
Oh, be.
It was like some kind of a, plastic or whatever, but he was just talking about, how much fun it was.
Right.
Another one showed, I guess it was a car wash, like at a gas station, had a small fire in it. Some of the paneling had got damaged. Well, instead of them having to replace all this, he was able to go in and really repair it.
Huh. That is good.
So that's why when we try to tell people, we can repair almost everything, anything, that. Because I know when I was doing the interview, I said, about buying this, I said, what do we not fix? And he just, one of the franchise guys been doing it for 20 years, he goes, I'll be honest with you, he goes, I don't know. He said, I got a call one time from a hotel where a lift knocked some of the decorative, like sandstone off of it. And the hotel called and he says, I'm driving. He says, yeah, he goes, we could probably do something. He goes, I'm driving there going, I don't have the slightest idea what I'm going to do.
That's great.
And that's usually what our attitude is.
Yes.
We don't have the slightest idea how we're going to do some of our repairs until we get there.
Till you get there.
And there are times that you may try something and it doesn't work, so you just start over.
Right.
That's what I love about this company is, you make a mistake, you're already there to fix something that's already damaged.
Right.
So if we don't fix it, it's like, okay, well, let's try something different.
Yeah.
So let's go into our box of magic tricks and let's try some different stuff. Or we reach out, or we can call and send things out to so many other people for help.
So do you find that, so say that you go in your toolbox and there's nothing there, and then you figure it out, that's something that's not even in the realm of what new creation, do you then turn around and go, hey guys, I fixed this way. This is what I used. And they add that to their box of tools.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was trying to get to is people love to say, somebody pulled it up the other day in an RV, one of the couches of how the headrest had lost all the material and fallen off. And he was actually showing how he mixed actually a couple of different compounds that we use.
Wow.
And was able to blend it all back together to where he made it, again, almost like it never happened, to where, how much would have, he may have charged him a few $100s, but if they had to replace all that furniture.
$8,000. So, I can tell you what it cost because I had to do that because I had the exact same thing going and I'm like, nope. And that was a secondary company. That wasn't from the manufacturer. Was $20,000.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But so now, is New Creations always finding new ways to do things, and then they update your toolbox?
So
I call it toolbox. I mean,
we got multiple toolboxes.
Yeah.
Because we actually do tubs and tile. So sinks and tubs get chips and cracks.
Oh yeah.
So we actually have a kit for nothing but like porcelain and fiberglass and different things. And then there's some things that I haven't been doing this long enough that I'm not going to go and start resurfacing a whole bathtub yet because I've already heard of enough people who do it professionally, who've been doing it for years, say it took them a while.
Right.
So when I'm trying to figure out how to do 200 different things, that's one that I think I can pass on.
Say, I'm good with that, right?
But we have gone in where we've had,
like a little chip or something.
Little chips. Things got dropped, and little chips, 2 or 3 of them, and we go in and we can, we basically, there's something we call, and I don't have a problem saying, stone builder.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and it's called a stone builder.
Okay.
You know what it is? I don't know, but we mix it all up and
Yeah.
we apply it, and then we add our coloring, and then we add our top coats, and then next thing you know, it all just is nice and shiny and looks like it almost never happened.
So what's the best way for people that are watching to get a hold of you?
The best way would be, to reach me on my cell phone.
Okay. And we've been showing that number
Okay.
for quite a while now. And now you also have a website. Now, is the website, is that how they get hold of you and book you, or would you rather phone call first?
So usually the best way is to give me a call, and then I usually ask, send me pictures,
Right.
just text them to me.
Okay.
Then a lot of times with pictures, because they can be deceiving, I will say the cost should not be more than this.
Right.
So at least you know that that's a guaranteed maximum price.
Oh, that's good.
Because I've had like a moving company at one time who actually, they sent me a picture, and I think, I don't know, I said whatever it was. And we got there. Well, in the picture, it looked like it was huge. We got there, and it was this little bitty
Little
chip,
thing.
on a banister. And I was like, okay, well, I cut the price in half.
Right.
So I always like to just tell people, at least that way they're never surprised.
That's
Again,
awesome.
it's all customer service. It's building that bond and trust that we're going to do the right thing.
That's phenomenal. Well, buddy, thank you for coming in today. We appreciate it. I like bringing on new businesses, right?
Well, I appreciate it.
But old networker, not that you're old, but you
Well, I am old.
you got that experience behind you. So everybody, thanks for watching today. If you need this guy, give him a call. He'll take good care of you. We'll see everybody next week on Open for Business. Have a great day.